He made it through practice today. We'll talk to the medical staff, and if he has no symptoms or anything, he'll be good to go.
Kepke's situation?
Yeah, he's out. Yeah, he's out. He won't be available tomorrow.
Yeah. Looking at the standings, looks like pretty much every game is gonna be a big game for you guys right now, but tomorrow a little less used to it.
Yeah, you don't want to get too far ahead, right? I think that's important. There's a log jam right now, and for us, it's about the last couple games that we've played against divisional opponents. Another one coming up tomorrow against a very good hockey team again that's playing better, and so for us, it's zeroing in on the games that are in front of us and making sure that we're just trying to play our game, stick to our process, and hopefully the end result will take care of itself.
With that as the backdrop, how does that affect the way you make goalie decisions, especially given that Sway played the way he's played recently? How much are you trying to ride that versus trying to A, keep Corby sharp, and B, not burn right now?
Yeah, well, this has been a good week for us because of the time in between games, and so we're able to get some rest for our group, the guys that need it, especially that play more minutes or more games in Sway's case. We haven't had one of these weeks in a while. So it's you got to make sure. I said this before that you're keeping the other guy ready to go as well because he's played well for us too this year. But when you have some days in between games like we do, the practice time, the rest time in between, it helps sometimes with making those difficult decisions a little bit easier. So that's where we're at.
What side did you have, whether it's Sway or?
Yeah, we're leaning towards Sway tomorrow. Yeah.
And given that it's a 1 o'clock game on Monday, would you split? You definitely split the assignments?
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, we'll talk about that after the game tomorrow. But Corby's got to get some action this week for sure.
What did you feel like you were able to focus on with the practice days this week?
The first day we had after our game against Tampa the next morning, it was a conditioning / battle day. We haven't had one of those practices in a long time where we could stay out a little bit longer. I think we were out there, over 40 minutes or so. So from that standpoint, we worked on some conditioning and some battle drills, some 1-on-1s, some 2-on-2s, 3-on-3s, just things that you don't really get to do that much during the course of the year. And even in games, sometimes those habits and those details, they slip when you don't practice them. So we focused on that the first day. Obviously, we were off yesterday. And then today was a little bit more focused on some of our neutral zone play, neutral zone forecheck, neutral zone offense, and then special teams.
You mentioned that playoff race lock jam. There's some teams in there that are excited just to be in a playoff race and haven't been in that position in a while. Is there a way to get this team in that mindset, guard against disappointment if they expect it to be better, or how do you approach that?
Yeah, I don't think that we can look at it like we're disappointed with the position that we're in, and other teams are excited of the position that they're in. This is a tough league, and there's a lot of parity in this league right now, especially in the Eastern Conference. So for us, we don't look at it like that. We're in a position that we put ourselves in, and it's our job, it's our responsibility to keep forging ahead and making sure that we're playing and we're executing at a high level here so that we give ourselves a chance. And the process has to be, we just can't. It's too much to look ahead. For us, we have Ottawa coming up here on Saturday. I mean, it's a big game. It's another divisional game for our group, and we're going to focus on the things that we need to do as a group to try and beat these guys, and that'll be part of our game plan. And then on Monday, we'll look towards the next game. So I just don't want us to say, hey, this team's behind us, this team's in front of us, because it's too much to look at right now.
This is the workload Sway, if you will, bargain for. He wanted to be the guy who gets 50, 55 games, maybe 60. Would you attribute the streak he's been on here, or not a streak necessarily, but the good numbers that he's put up, to the workload, just the volume, or do you think there's something fundamental in his game?
I hope it's not the volume, because we don't want to be doing that to our goaltenders. I think it's just more or less him actually starting to, be the goalie that he knows he's capable of being. I said this the other day, and I'll say it again. You miss some training camp, you miss some time. It takes a little bit to get up to speed, no matter what position you're in, and maybe that was the case for Sway. But we don't want it to be, hey, let's give up 40 shots and let our goaltender, save 37 of them or 38 of them, right? We want to we want to be better in front of our goaltenders too. But having said that, in this league, you look around. Last night, there's a game or two. You see teams getting outshot, but they put up the W in the column, right? And it happens in this league. But it's not a recipe for success long term. So we want to make sure that we're better in those areas.
So you feel like you'll be good to go for tomorrow?
I think it's kind of up to some other people to decide, but I feel really good.
How much would you relish the opportunity to play tomorrow in Ottawa?
It would be really special. I think I was kind of, you don't want to rush these things, but that was kind of in the back of my mind, and just try to get feeling as best I could for that. And if I get in tomorrow, I'll be really excited to be back in Ottawa and try to just be back with the boys. It'll be really great.
A couple of wins over divisional opponents over the last couple of games. Another divisional opponent coming up. You got a couple ahead. How big are these games moving forward?
They're huge. I mean, this time of the year, everybody's so close right now, and I think really every game almost feels like a playoff game, and the standings are so tight, and nobody's really out of it yet. So I think it's a time of year where you can really kind of try to make a push and really string some wins together and just really try to separate yourself.
In terms of playing against your former team, how much, do your teammates pick your brain a little bit about some guys, that you played with for a while?
A little bit. I think a lot of the stuff comes from the coaches and the pre-scout and stuff like that. I think I can only give so much on what they're doing. I'm not really sure what they're up to these days. Things might have changed a little bit. So as far as system stuff, I don't really have much to bring, but I'll definitely be taking in a lot of knowledge and try to give a little give what I can about maybe goalies or stuff like that, if I can.
Knowing the stakes and for you and the team, do you kind of have to weigh your emotions against yourself kind of coming back of the injury if you do get in at all?
I just try to keep an even keel no matter what, and the guys have gotten 2 wins without me, so I just try to, if I get in, kind of just try to do my job like I've always been doing and not try to do too much or change anything. So just kind of try to bring what I can and help the guys and keep just a steady head.
Mark, is it weird to be in a situation, you've been part of Ottawa teams that have been kind of hoping to build toward becoming a playoff team, and now you're trying to squelch it?
Yeah, for sure. I think it will probably become more normal over time, but it's still pretty new. I think the first time I played them was super weird, and hopefully this time's not as big of a deal. And then I'm sure as I go on, it's just another game and trying to beat whoever we're playing on any night.
Another game against a divisional opponent. How much do you relish the opportunity on Saturday?
Yeah, they're big points for both teams. It's a great opportunity to continue to build our game. We've obviously had a couple of big wins lately. Definitely areas of our game we can continue to improve upon, but another good opportunity to do that tomorrow. So we're, one we're looking forward to, and nice to have a few days rest to kind of recover and get excited about the game tomorrow.
And how good was it to have an opportunity to actually, hit the practice sheet?
It's great. We haven't had a ton of time in the last month to practice, so more practice time, more things we can work on and try to improve our game. It's nice to get out there with the guys and work hard and compete and try to get better.
You mentioned rounding out your game. What have you liked most as of late, from what you've seen collectively as a group?
I like that we've been able to pull out some wins. There's times throughout the year where when you don't play well and you continue to slide and you don't have that confidence to finish out games. But no, those are 2 really good teams that we beat, and they pushed, and we continue to stay ahead and find ways to win. So I like that we're able to kind of battle that adversity and push through it.
Is it too early to kind of be in a playoff push type of mode and looking at standings and things of that nature, or is that something that kind of hits with the group?
No, I mean, I think we watch standings all year. You try not to get too caught up into it because obviously things change on the daily, but obviously we're aware of it, and we have to. Yeah, it's definitely not too early for playoff push. I mean, you have to as quick as you can, find a way to compete at the highest level and play that playoff type game. That's the way that they try to build us this year, and we have to do a little better job of playing that on a consistent basis. So when we do it, we're our team to play, and we've shown that. We just get away from it sometimes, so we have to find that consistency.
Brad, along those lines, you guys probably expect to be a little higher at this point. Do you have to guard against disappointment? Like, can you get excited to be in a playoff race?
Yeah, I mean, you can never forget that it's extremely hard to win in this league. And sorry, toe okay? It's very hard to win in this league, and you can't get caught up in thinking that where you're placed in the standings is the be all or end all. At the end of the day, any team in playoffs can win, and you just have to get in there. Now, so when you're at the bottom, you open the door to teams catch you and push you out. So that's what you kind of worry about. But other than that, it doesn't really matter where you're placed as long as you get to the dance. And so something we need to be aware of. There's a lot of teams pushing in that group right now, but we just have to continue to focus on our game and put some wins together.
Is there a potential benefit to down the stretch of the last couple of years? You guys had to manufacture, intensity and try to find playoff type of ways to motivate yourself going into the playoffs. Having to play desperate hockey down the stretch, do you think that'll benefit this group?
I mean, if you're playing good hockey, it benefits you. When you play desperate hockey and you play well, then you go into playoffs feeling well and you feel good about yourselves. But that doesn't mean that you're going to have success in playoffs. It just sometimes is the way the cards play out. At the end of the day, only one team wins. So, some teams go in feeling that way and they go all the way. Some teams go in playing desperate and it helps them maybe early on in the playoffs. But that's usually what makes the first round hard. And then it kind of, best teams typically go forward in playoffs.